I know things are going to slow down in the evening as people go to sleep, but kind of expect people to be coming up at all hours. If you're food vending, then people are staying up, and it's up to you, as the vendor. But if people are staying up, having a good time out by the campfire, eating, drinking until midnight, and you closed your vendor stall at 10, you might be missing out on some food business or whatever. So it is up to the vendor in that case. But don't. I would expect that people are going to stay up fairly late, and so before you signed up as a vendor, do kind of know that, and know that so that you can bring the right amount of people with you to kind of keep running and giving people breaks too. And I know a lot of vendors are just like us. A lot of times it's a family affair, and so I know you gotta make sure you got your help, or if you need to, bring somebody with you just for the event. So, like I said, we're going to try to be as vendor friendly as we can possibly be. You'll definitely have, as far as vendors goes, you'll definitely have access to water all the time. You will have to be, as far as your electric goes, you will have to be self-contained on your electric. You'll have to run a generator or whatever. If I get a ticket, will there be a backup volunteer list in case you need the help still? The lady that we're working with, she's done a lot of events before, so and she's already got her, what you would call her volunteer team leaders already together. They're working out all of the logistics, and they know pretty much exactly how many volunteers they're going to need. So the volunteers are actually the volunteer passes, because when you volunteer, you're going to be getting a pass to the event too. They're going to be limited in some capacity. So if you've got the idea that you want to be a volunteer, you might want to sign up for that pretty early on. Volunteer if you come over the border. Well, hopefully by September the borders are open. Everything we're hearing in Virginia is that by June, it's back to life as normal. The vaccination, I think I heard today that at least over a quarter of the population's vaccinated. As far as like Virginia mandates, rules that we have to follow, they've been loosening every few weeks. I think even outdoor gatherings right now are the limit's gone up to 1,000 people. And obviously for wudtok, we need for that to keep going up. I don't see any reason why it's not going to. But then at the end of the day, you say, well, what's the backup plan for that? Quite frankly, guys, and this is just because it's either going to be, money's already going to be spent. So what's going to happen if, let's say in September, the outdoor cap is at 3,000 people, but we've sold 4,000 tickets. We're going to pay the fine. That's what's going to happen. We're going to pay whatever the fine is for having a gathering of larger, because we are not going to screw people on the back end. But honestly, as far as all indicators go, we wouldn't have announced it, we wouldn't have planned it if all indicators weren't that life would be back to normal. Like I said, in Virginia, what we're hearing is June. We're hearing by June that the only mandate that'll be left in place is masks. It does take the big cojones to take a lot of risk here. And we've been taking a lot of risks. Building a creamery was a big risk. Spring, yeah, everything's a risk in dairy farming. Coolers, yeah, people will be able to bring in coolers. So if you're tent camping and you don't want to have to buy food, you are welcome to bring in your food. We reasonably expect people to bring in their snacks, water, Gatorades, whatever. There will be, it's going to be on the website. There will be, coolers will be subject to being checked. We're not allowing people to bring in alcohol because we are selling alcohol on site. That's just the way that it's typically done, because we have to get an ABC license, and that's kind of how you control people from getting out of control drunk, is you shut down the beer stalls at a reasonable time. So that's why the coolers are subject to being checked, and why there's no outside alcohol. And even having said that, let's be realistic. everybody is going to try to sneak a bottle of rum in their sleeping bag or something. That's all kind of in consideration. But don't, if you pack a cooler full of liquor and you show up at the gate and you get checked, don't be surprised if you lose the liquor in your cooler. It's a risk that you're going to be taking. And again, that's to control. You have to, for big events, and I'm learning all this stuff myself, you do have to control rowdiness, and you want people to have a good time. You don't want them to have too good of a time. And the way, one of the ways you can help with that is the beer stalls close at 10 o'clock, because then people start to wind down and actually go sleep at a reasonable time. If we encourage people just to bring in all kinds of stuff, people will party till 3, 4 in the morning. So that's the reason. Need Richlands Farms flashlights for the events to be able to buy. Just saying, yeah, that's a great idea, flashlights. But there will also, we talked a lot about this too. We're going to, probably us, the farm, we're going to set up a trailer that has absolutely nothing but essentials, because I know me, and I know that no matter how hard I try, when I go somewhere, I don't always remember to pack absolutely everything I need, like a toothbrush or toothpaste or things like that. And so we're even going to try to have that stuff here, that if you forget yours, you can get it. Toilet paper, those kinds of things. So, although I don't know why you need toilet paper, because there's going to be bathrooms and stuff. So, but you never know. You never know what people want. So, toothpaste, toothbrushes, shaving cream, that kind of stuff. We're trying, like I said, we are not trying. I mean, we've been planning for months. In our planning, we have tried diligently to cover every scenario, every possibility. Like I said, you can plan all day long, but until that stuff actually happens, till you actually had the event, there's going to be things that come up, and it's just having the right things in the right place, so that when things come up, you can deal with them and keep moving on and keep having a good time. Things like medical tents. So I'm concentrating trying to grab some comments. I'm trying to make sure I'm answering all y'all's questions. Tell your local Walmart, stock up. So yes, the goal, in case you're wondering, is to make it a yearly event. Of trying, and this was based on the feedback from the time we announced it in the video. We still don't know until we start selling tickets, but based on the response from the video, we are rapidly working to try to double the event for this year. But our goal as the people putting it on, is to have it this year, figure out what the kinks are, figure out what the obstacles are, the things we didn't have that we should have had, and then next year doubling it again, and then the year after that doubling it again, and eventually getting it to where the farm could very easily host, as it is right now, it can easily host 100,000 to 200,000 people. Now there'd have to be some walking and some getting around, because you get that many people, you got to make some distance. But we did not want to start out our first year with 100,000 people and make mistakes with a crowd that big. So if you're wondering why the capacity is limited, it's because we wanted something where we can manage the mistakes. Because when you get big, you don't want those mistakes. So, in case you're wondering, Woodstock has actually, they tried to have a Woodstock 50 and a recreation of Woodstock. Both attempts at recreating Woodstock to date failed miserably. They were never able to have a second year because they tried to go really big. They tried to go extremely big and recreate Woodstock in the hundreds of thousands of people. And nobody was prepared for the hundreds of thousands of people. So we're trying to learn from history control it, make sure we're responsible, make sure everybody's safe, make sure everybody has a great time, wants to come back, and then the next year build it again the year after that. We hope this is something that's going to be here for many years to come. The reason, as I told some people earlier on in the live, dairy farming is hard. It does not make money. This farm has not made a profit in the last 5 years. We have operated in the negative. We have a great lender. We have people that work with us. We do a lot of things to manage debt. We've sold off assets, timber. We've been cannibalizing tractors, selling things to keep our debt manageable. And that's how we've managed to stay in business. But we also are very well aware that the small family farm in America is dying. It just is. It's why we built the creamery. But we need the creamery to get up and operate in 100% capacity before it's actually going to do what we need for it to do. So in the meantime, we're having to be very creative in ways to draw people out to the farm, the ways to make money. Wudtok is one of them. And we want it to continue on into the future because honestly, I don't want my wife, my father, my sister, my mother, the people that are here, I don't want my kids, I don't want them to struggle the way we've been struggling. And I'm so tired of struggling, and I want to get rid of that struggle. And so having something like that here year after year, that would get rid of that struggle. It would actually get to where we could afford to build nice barns for the cows, and for the people that work in them. Right now we have decent facilities for the cows. They are not so great for the people that work in them, and we know that, but it is what we can afford. As far as equipment and tractors, we spend more time working on our stuff than we spend using our stuff. When you can afford tractors to keep your stuff up to date, when you can afford tillage equipment to keep your stuff up to date, you spend way more time riding in it than you do working on it. Those are the things that we would love to get rid of, and that's what things like Wudtok will do for us. So I hope that explains it well. Brittany can get her cow brushes, absolutely. So we're not afraid to work. We're not afraid to go out and work. We're not afraid to take risks. It's just, we can do those things all day long. We can work. I'm working, gosh, I don't know what time it is. Been at work since 7, it's 7:30. I'm pushing 12 and a half hours already today. And I'll be here for a while longer. It's not work. Work doesn't scare us. What scares us is never having the opportunity to succeed. Because we can put these events on, we can get out and work all day long, but if nobody shows up for them, it's just one more thing that, we gotta, camping's included with the 250. It's just one more thing that we're doing. The only thing that'll be an excess charge above the camping, or the 250 is per person. 5 and under is free. That's camping's included. Bathroom, showers, all that stuff's included. No extra fee. There's no parking spot fee or anything like that. The only thing that'll have an extra fee is RV parking. The reason RV parking has an extra fee is because it takes up a lot of space. And space, when you're hosting thousands of people, is valuable. And the people that have been following me, people in this live will tell you, I've helped raise a lot of money for people on TikTok. I've helped try to, help a lot of people take care of problems they had. But I may have complained about farming some, but I have never asked anybody for a dime. And you're not going to catch me asking anybody for money anytime soon either. Now, will I ask you to buy a ticket and come out to have an event and have a good time? Absolutely. But I've done work for that. I put in time for that. You're just paying me for my time at that point. I like to work. Do some tutorial videos on camping. We could do that. I love to camp. I love to camp. I'd be more than happy to help you camp. And one of the things a lot of people asked about this is actually a thing we don't know yet that we're trying to sort out, because sometimes obvious things just get valued. But campfires. Obviously when I go camping, I almost always have a campfire. And I don't know why, in my mind, I just assumed like camping there would be campfires. But then what I realized is you can't have like 500 little campfires going all over a farm. especially if it's a dry time of year. There's burn laws in effect. It's not like a campsite at a state park. So the thing we're still trying to figure out is campfires, how we're going to make it work, so that, you know, I know people are going to want to have them. I mean, I would want to have one. But we also have to get with, that's something we're going to work with the fire department, trying to figure out what's the best way to do it, safest way to do it. One of the ideas that came up real fast was actual, instead of having fires on the ground, actually having fire pits, like, you know, the little things you can buy and put in your backyard. And then it's just trying to figure out if we're buying them and putting them up as part of the, you know, the amenities, how often we're going to put one, or if we're letting people bring their own in. You know, that's something we are still trying to figure out. And as soon as we've got it figured out, we'll talk to you about it. So there are still little details like that we're trying to get work going, that, you know, things are going to come up as we plan and go. One big bonfire, we talked about that too. It can get kind of dry in September. September is it's a wild card month in Virginia. You can get a hurricane, you can get dry weather. It's you know, as far as how the weather's going to be, it's hard to say right now. So we talked about some big bonfires, but, you know, if there's a burn law in effect, how would that work? So it's just one of those things that came up that we're trying to figure out, and we're going to get it figured out. And as soon as we get it figured out, we're going to let you know what we're going to do about it. All right, guys, I'm going to grab a few more questions. My ride is at the front of the field, which means this day's winding down for me. You know, this is one of those wonderful days where I get to finish early this time of year. It's going to be a busy 3 days. Wednesday evening, I'm leaving to head to Udi's house, and we're going to head out to Sevierville on Thursday, start getting ready for the ride-along show. That's Friday the 9th. And then when I get back from the show on the 9th, it's going to be corn planting time on the farm. And I but my goal is to try to get my first 300 acres in and planted before the 22nd, which is the next ride-along show in South Carolina, or the content violation show in South Carolina. So I've got to try to sling 300 acres of corn in the ground, as well as all the fields have trees all in them from the ice storms we had this winter. So we got to get that stuff cleared out, try to get corn in the ground, get all that done. So there's going to be some long days. We're going to have some late night lives in the tractor. And when I get back from that, it's going to be time to cut spring silage. So we'll try to get spring silage in, and then hopefully finish getting corn planted before our next show on the 14th out in Indiana. So I got a busy month ahead of me, but it's not just me. Brittany's going to get to go to this first show with me, but then after that, just because of the time of year and the fact that we have 2 kids, I'll mostly be traveling alone after that. And so she's going to be on her own at home with 2 kids. Also in the middle of long days of work, because of tours have started on the farm again. Thank God tours have started on the farm again. We've missed having people out to the farm, and we need the income from ag tourism. So all those things are starting, but it also means we're getting busier. If I could ask for something from you, just, you know, maybe keep not just us, but the rest of the farmers around the country, around the world. It's a busy time of year for them. You just keep them in your thoughts and prayers. They're going to be working some long days. Unfortunately, when you work long days like that, you get tired, accidents happen. So just keep them in your thoughts, keep them in your mind. And then spouses, wives, female farmers that are out in the field too. There's plenty of them. Plenty of women in ag, strong women out doing exactly what I'm doing right now, running tractors, running equipment, you know, wrestling cows. So just, you know, kind of keep them in your mind. Pop-up camper. I think somebody asked about pop-up camper price. So if it's like a little tow behind on your car, it's something that you don't have to have like an RV spot for, or it's like in the back of your pickup truck, you know, those little campers. Those kinds of things probably aren't going to require an RV spot. But that is an excellent question. And see, these are the kinds of things I'm talking about to pop up. For whatever reason, as we've been planning so far, we kind of assumed either camping or RVs. we didn't necessarily consider pull behinds. So it's something we're going to have to talk about now. So I appreciate you bringing that to my attention. But my guess would be, if it's going to require extra space, it might be a small fee. But if it's something that you can, it doesn't take up any more space than parking your car in your camping area, it's probably not going to be any extra charge. But it's something I'll have to figure out. And so these are the things. These are the kinds of things we got to figure out and work through. So appreciate you bringing it up, bringing it to my attention. We are trying to keep it as reasonably priced as we possibly can, and not lose money on doing it. So, all right, guys, I'm up at the front of the field. I'm gonna kick off for the evening. I'm going to go home, see my wife and kids. I'm tired. I'm hungry. Want to eat a little bit, get some sleep, be back up, do it again in the morning. Can you bring a small grill? Yeah, absolutely. If it's something you would normally bring with you camping, just consider it part of your camping equipment, campsite. The only thing outside of, like I said, the only thing that we're not entirely sure that I would normally do camping yet is fires. As far as fire pits or fire, just campfires. That's the only thing we're still trying to figure out. I'm in a tractor. I'm not driving on the highway. I'm in a tractor. And now I'm getting out of my tractor. So I am not driving with a phone. Technically speaking. Ouch. Alright, guys. Y'all have a good evening. Say hi. I think Pops is watching us. Look, y'all, you can watch Pops. You can watch Pops watching you.